Welcome to Lesson 33 of the first 50. Today we're meeting wget, the download specialist. Picture this. Tom is pulling down a 4 GB Ubuntu ISO, he's 73% of the way there, and his Wi-Fi drops. With most tools, that's 3 GB of wasted bandwidth and starting over from zero. With wget, it's a single flag, and the download just picks up where it left off. That's the magic we're going to unpack. So what exactly does wget do? At its simplest, you type wget followed by a URL and it downloads the file to disk. Original file name preserved, progress bar running by default, no flags required. But the real magic lives in 3 places: that always-on progress bar, the resume and retry combo that saved Tom's ISO, and recursive mirroring that can pull down entire websites. Remember, wget was born for downloading, while curl was born for talking to servers. Different tools, different specialties. Let's try it. Type wget space, the URL of that 4 GB Ubuntu ISO, and watch what happens. wget resolves the domain, sends the HTTP request, gets a 200 OK, and starts saving. You see the file size up front, a live progress bar, the speed in megabytes per second, and a final summary when it's done. No flags, no config, just a clean download. If you ever need to save it elsewhere, use -P for the path or -O to rename. That's it. Now here's where wget earns its reputation. 3 flags turn a simple downloader into something legendary. -C continues from a break. Imagine Tom's Ubuntu ISO dies at 73%. wget asks the server for just the remaining bytes and picks up exactly where it stopped. -R recursively mirrors a site, following links up to 5 levels deep for an offline copy. And -T sets retry attempts so flaky Wi-Fi can't kill your download. Bonus, add -B to send it to the background. Close the laptop, it keeps going. So when do you actually pick wget over curl? Think of it this way. Curl is the Swiss Army knife for HTTP, perfect for API calls, custom headers, posting JSON, inspecting responses. wget is the specialist, built for grabbing files, mirroring sites, and surviving long unattended downloads. The rule of thumb is simple. Hitting an API, reach for curl. Pulling down a file like Tom's Ubuntu ISO, reach for wget. The pros switch between them daily. Now let's see that specialist in action. Tom's been pulling down the Ubuntu ISO when his Wi-Fi dies at 73%, 2.9 GB already on disk. First thing, don't delete that partial file. Then he just runs wget-C with the same URL and watch what happens. The server responds with 206 partial content, wget reads the existing bytes, and asks only for the remaining 1.1 gigs. 14 seconds later, the full 4 GB ISO is saved, and Tom kept every byte he'd already downloaded. Now, a word of warning before you get too excited about wget's power. The recursive flag -R is a classic footgun. Run wget-R against Wikipedia with no limits, and wget will cheerfully follow every link, then every link on those pages, 5 levels deep by default, gigabytes of HTML and images, a hammered server, and possibly your IP rate limited. The fix is simple. Always pair -R with -L for depth and -W for a delay, something like wget-R-L2-W1, depth 2, 1 second between requests. Polite, bounded, and you stay a good citizen. Now, wget rarely works alone. It lives inside a small family of tools that complete the download lifecycle. Reach for curl when you're talking to an API and get when you're pulling a file. Pick by the job, not by habit. Once Tom's Ubuntu ISO finishes, he runs #256 sum against it and matches the published hash. That's how you know those 4 GB arrived intact. And when bandwidth matters, SSH into the server and let wget pull the file directly there. Specialist tools working together. Time to put your hands on the keyboard. Try these 3 in order against the kernel README. It's tiny, public, and safe. First, plain wget URL. File lands in your current directory with the original name and a progress bar. Then add -O to rename it on the fly, and finally -q for silent mode. That's the one you'll reach for inside cron jobs and shell scripts. Run all three and the muscle memory starts to stick. And that's wget. Robust downloads now in your toolkit. You've got the basics for grabbing files, -C for resuming when Tom's 4 GB ISO drops at 73%, -R for mirroring whole sites, and the mental model for when to pick curl instead. Next up, Lesson 34, SSH. 3 network commands have been about reaching out to servers. SSH is where you step inside one. See you there.